well, we're going to come on in and get this party started officially. My name is Lindsay, the CMP, Lindsay Martin Bilbrey. I am the head of Nifty Method, and it is my joy, my honor, and my awesome privilege to introduce you to two of my absolute most favorite humans, Liz Lathan and Nicole Ajibadu. I met these crazy. I was actually telling Liz the first time I ever saw her, I think was in an airport somewhere. She was wearing a t-shirt and there was a burning bike on it, and that said event planners, this is how it is, or something like that. And I was like, I don't know who this chick is, but she gets it. And then I took a chance and showed up randomly with my passport to JFK and went on an adventure with Nicole and Liz and Nicole when they took us to Tuscany. And it rained the entire time and the food was incredible. And we saw vampires and formed memories. And there was more limoncello than sense, my friends. But my God, my business is better for it. So today, these ladies have gone out from hot and have gone into their new universe, which is the community factory, and we'll be sharing how ROI is driving ROE, return on emotion. So we're going to come on in and I am going to let them share a little bit about themselves. But before they do, and we pop over in today's actual entertainment, a couple of housekeeping things. We are going to be moving this meeting to Zoom meetings because we want to do full-on breakout fun. So with that, we're going to be dropping in, and you might be able to see in the chat. If you can't, let us know. There is a meeting link that y'all will need to use. So with that, grab the meeting link. Liz, if you could do me a solid, take it and drop it into the chat for me. That's where we're going to be heading in just a few seconds. Also, we are going to be recording both this one as well as what's happening over in the breakout rooms, which means the EIC will still love us. You can still get your CEU credit. We will be sending out a certificate. It will be coming in probably sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours. We've heard from a few folks that the spam bots have been eating these emails. If you don't see it, then you just need to email me at lindsay@niftymethod.com and be like, yo, I need my S or CEU certificate so I can get my CMP or my CAE, and we would love to send it with bells on. The third thing is this is an interactive session. We had a few folks submit questions beforehand because they were on site and they couldn't join us. We wanted to get their on-demand action happening nice and live, but we get more out of this when you participate and tell us what's happening with you and how it's happening in your world, because Lord save me, it is hairy, crazy, and ridiculous out there right now. Whether you work in marketing, creative, events, or strategy, or all of the above with many hats, it is a time to be alive in our industry, and it is a time to hold on and hold each other's hands. So with that, please meet Liz and Nicole, and off to the races we roll, ladies.
Amazing. Nicole, over to you.
Hi, and welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Nicole, this is Liz, and we are from the Community Factory, which is so fun. We love any event to really talk to event marketing professionals. So it really feels like family already, even though I can't see your faces yet. But we're excited to kick it off today and find out how ROE, return on emotion, drives ROI, because that's what it's really all about. It's really cool to combine, being able to make those amazing connections in life and make it that profitable personally and professionally.
So we're going to tell you the story about return on emotion, how this came to be once we jump over into the Zoom so that we can get some engagement and involve you in the story. But a little kind of backstory on it, the crazy trip that Lindsay talked about that she went on in 2019 was kind of where we started thinking about what emotions are really going to drive business. We had started hearing some research studies that, you have to have emotion in your marketing in order to drive business, but no one ever called out which emotions you needed. So our journey over 2020, 2021, and into 22 was really, what is the emotion that actually drives business? Beyond just the scare tactics that made somebody buy something, but when we're creating events and experiences, what do we need to evoke in order to make those connections real? But what I want to preface this with is, while our research study was all around experiences and creating these events, this return on emotion formula can be used all across different parts and pieces. We have started to see people use them in HR for onboarding new employees, see them used in hospitality for even leisure clients, leisure customers coming in to give them a full experience and make them want to come back and do more. And any others, Nicole, that we've seen that in recently?
Sales teams, obviously, to bring sales and marketing together, which, is kind of like world peace if that can happen.
That is very, very true. So Lindsay, do you want us to stay here for about 15 minutes before we kick over to the other one?
Sounds good.
Okay. Perfect. So shall I just kick off with kind of the big overview here, and then we move over to the other one as we start getting interactive? How's that sound? Okay, sounds great. Let's get my PowerPoint going. So that's not what we want. There we go. All right, well, I'll just kick it off with the official opening story of our heart. When my friend's daughter was about 6 years old, she was obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with Pluto. She's into princesses too, but she loves this yellow dog. They even had a Pluto at her birthday party, the one and only Pluto actually live in her backyard. Her name was Ella, and she was so excited to have Pluto there. So when it was time for the family to do the family trip to Disney World, her dad decided he was going to spring for the character breakfast. If you've never done the character breakfast, this is when you go to Disney World or Disneyland, you can get this autograph book and go around the park and get the characters to sign it. What the character breakfast, they're like all there in one place and you can get them all to sign it. So here's Ella wearing her yellow princess dress and just about to fall out of her chair with excitement when the characters begin flowing into the room. There's Mickey and there's Minnie and there's Belle and there's Jasmine and then there's Pluto. So she grabbed her dad by the hand and she runs over to Pluto and she runs right up to him and she has her autograph book and she holds it up to Pluto and she says, "Do you remember me?" Her dad said that that was the moment that his heart fell into his stomach, or his stomach was in his throat. He wasn't sure, but he knew he was about to throw up. Pluto looks down at little Ella with his floppy ears and his floppy tongue, and he grabs the book and he signs the book and he hands it to Ella and goes to the next kid. Her dad said that he was pretty sure in that moment he had orchestrated his own child's heartbreak. Ella looked up at him and he rallied. "That was amazing. You got Pluto's autograph." And he scooped her up and they went back to their table and they had waffles and pancakes and bacon and eggs and all the things you're supposed to have at the breakfast. And they sang songs and it was a lovely time. And when the breakfast was over, he said, "Hey, let's look through the book and see what characters we missed so we know who to look for when we go out to the park." So they turned to page 1 and there's Minnie with the little heart over the eyes and there's Jasmine. And then they flip to Pluto and it says, "Of course I remember you." Ah, I tear up like every time I tell that story. I just love it so much. I was already a Disney fan long before I heard that story. I know all the words to the songs: The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Frozen, Frozen 2, Moana, and Encanto. We don't talk about Bruno. All the things, you get the idea. But I love it even more after hearing that story. The crazy part is I heard that story 15 years ago. That little girl is now old enough to drink. And guess what? If you ask her today, she still remembers every detail of that story. I wasn't even there. It didn't even happen to me, and I can relate it to you as though it was me. I'm willing to bet it's one that you'll remember too. So I want to break down what happens in your brain when you hear a story like that. You feel a sense of adventure. You can literally feel the excitement and anticipation as the characters walk into the breakfast and Ella's waiting to see Pluto. This released serotonin and dopamine in your brain. Then you felt the conflict, the struggle, thinking, what's Pluto going to do? Did he just sign the book and move on? But when you heard what he wrote, "Of course I remember you," you felt a bond, a sense of acceptance, releasing oxytocin. Those 3 chemicals in your brain produce happiness. That story literally made you happy. Now, I tell you that story because it's a personal story, and sharing an experience like this together drives connection, makes us closer. We know connections are personal, and we all know without a doubt that connections drive business, because we believe that business is personal. And what we've learned through a whole bunch of scientific studies is that purchasing decisions are emotional. As marketers for years, we've heard that 95% of purchasing decisions are based on emotions. And we've heard that you have to evoke emotions in your marketing to drive brand loyalty. But again, no one ever told us which emotions must be evoked, much less how to actually measure them. And honestly, our big question was, is brand loyalty even the metric we care about? We care about pipeline and revenue. And what if the way that you drive pipeline and revenue creates so much happiness within your company, customers and prospects, that it actually makes your whole company culture better? You'd be the corporate version of a Disney hero. So that's our goal. The good news is we figured this out. Amidst another year of uncertainty in 2020, craving real human connection, we launched a year-long research study to identify exactly which emotion needed to be induced to drive business. Our study revealed that there are, in fact, 5 emotions that you must evoke in your marketing programs to create the connections that drive pipeline. So what I want to take you through is share with you what those 5 emotions are, tell you how to use what we call return on emotion as a blueprint, and then how you can use ROE as a metric. Sound good? Lindsay, we good to continue here?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, so in this global research study, we had about 300 sales and marketing executives. We ran this study throughout 2021, and we looked at 3 different sets of cohorts. So the first one was attendee to attendee, or peer to peer. What kind of environment and emotions needed to be evoked for them to connect with each other? The next one was attendee to sponsor. We all have sponsors for our events. Did we need to create separate experiences in order for them to get business from our event? And then the third one is attendee to event host. We as the hosting organization, did we need to do something different in order to drive business for us, future returns to the event or any other type of business? Now, we like to joke internally that you can bring home the bacon by evoking a few emotions. So our acronym is HAM with 3 A's. So we began by exploring 12 emotions: happy, confident, connected, positive, encouraged, interested, a whole bunch of them. But the 5 emotions that consistently came out on top were HAM: hopeful, adventurous, active, accepted, and motivated. Now, you can use this as a predictive pre-programmed blueprint to bounce your elements against to ensure your program is set up for success. You just look at it as equal parts. Think of 20% each of these 5 emotions. So hopeful, will your program make your participants think positively about a new future? Do they feel like the content or the connections that they're going to make at your program will create a better tomorrow for them? The next one is adventurous. Will your program get your participants a little out of their comfort zone? Will they get to try something they haven't done before? Will they get to provide and receive value that is far beyond what they thought they were going to receive? And will they have stories to tell when they come home? Active. This does not mean you have to start your day with the morning 5K or a yoga experience, though you totally can. This really meant from the participant standpoint, will they be participants and not attendees? Will they have some say in the content? Will they be able to be part of a conversation? Will they be able to either choose their own adventure or help contribute to what the content's going to be? Accepted. Will they feel like they belong there? From the moment you send that beginning save the date, will they recognize that this is the group for them? They're in the right place. When they get there, will they feel like you would have missed them if they weren't there? And finally, motivated. Will your participants feel a call to act? Will they feel energized to go take their learnings or take their connections and go do something with them when they leave? Or will it just be that event they went to last week? Now, most marketers have no problem whatsoever with hope and motivation. That's the basis of persuasion. Everything you're doing, I got my keynote speaker, my motivational speaker, my inspirational speaker, done, all good. But we forget about the middle, the meat of our ham sandwich, those 3 A's. So we really want to talk through what we can do to add that sense of adventure and activity and acceptance across our programs. So let's think through how you might even schedule the programming of an event. If you have a 3-day conference, that very first day, you want to spend so much time focusing on the acceptance part. You want to orient them to the fact that they're here together. You want to bring them into the environment. If you're at a destination, say your event is in the Bahamas, you want to host a Junkanoo kind of carnival-like parade, make them connect to it. Why is this here? What's the history of it? Why should they be a part of it? Give them some masks and feathers and let them be there. Really focus on orienting them to be accepted in this place, and that will prime them for the rest. Active. Is there any way on that first day or on the beginning of the second day, you can collect from them what they're hoping to achieve, what they want to get out of this, and maybe some contributions of their expertise so that you can weave that into the experience they're going to have over the next few days. So that second day, you get them active. You can also physically get them moving. So don't put them in a keynote hall and make them sit there for 14 hours. Actually make them move around, get outside. If you are in an incredible environment, do more things outside. Can you even flip the agenda on its head and actually do the sessions in the morning and in the evening? But in the middle, use the day, use the venue, and let people go be active and network and take that time. Can you think outside the box that way? Now, the adventure part, again, thinking outside the box just with rearranging the way that your conference is going to be oriented might be an option. Can you bring in some adventures? We here in Texas love to bring in armadillo races or something that's crazy bizarre. If you're not from Texas, you've probably never tried to herd an armadillo. It's really fun. So what are those little moments that you can put in the hallway? A few years ago, the puppy petting therapy moment thing was like a really big thing no one had seen before. What else can we do? Also the adventure part of just sharing a customer testimonial or story in a really adventurous way of how they went from a nothing to a something, and bring that adventure, bring your participants along that adventure with you. So there's so many ways to weave this in. Now, you obviously want to make sure that on your last day, motivation is what you're focused on, so that people will feel the call to action and that they can come back with all of these steps that they need to take and go leave the event, put things into action, be super excited about the world around them. So that's kind of it for the blueprint. It's not rocket science, though it is psychology. You can use this very easily to ensure that your program has these elements. If you need ideas on how to pull any of these elements out, give us a call. We have tons of them. But now the metric part. Now I will warn you, getting anyone to fill out a post-event survey is a challenge for everyone. But if you can do a post-event survey and they are filling it out, this is how we can get our measurements. So it's simply a sliding scale from 1 to 10. And you're going to ask 5 simple questions. The first one is, after this experience, I feel more hopeless or hopeful, hesitant or adventurous, passive or active, rejected or accepted, and uninspired or motivated. So have them do a sliding scale. If you need to do it as a drop down from 1 to 10 on your survey tool, that's totally fine. We're just trying to get to the final number. What our research found was the number is 8.6. If you can get an average score of 8.6 or greater, you have created the environment that drives business. With those 3 cohorts we studied, we determined that these 5 emotions work for all 3 cohorts, and that this 8.6 metric was right for all of them. You don't have to have separate experiences for sponsors. You don't have to do something separate for the hosts. If the whole event is focused around this, then you're going to get those scores. Now, let's take you through what might happen when you see the scores back. You get this score in and your total was 8.2. Let's go take a look at how this broke down. Looks like for acceptance, your participants felt like they were in the right place. Good job. 8.7, they really felt like they belonged with your event, and that makes them more likely to want to come again. Now, you're hopeful and motivated. Maybe you were pretty good. Maybe you kind of phoned it in and you just brought in some keynote speakers and thought they would pull the load on that. And they did pretty well. 8.5, just below what you really want to target. So that's great. Maybe you can dial it up just a little. Now, adventurous and active, it looks like from these survey results, we didn't quite hit the mark on that one. So what could we do next year? What could we add in? Or what are some small micro events that we could do throughout the year that would boost that and make participants really more participatory in the active part? Can we do more roundtables? Can we do more peer-to-peer sessions? On the adventurous part, can we take them out? Can we do more field event type of activities to get people really feeling like they're part of something? So this one landed at 8.2. This does not mean that your sales teams are going to have a terrible, terrible time reaching out to folks. It means you did a pretty solid job, but just thinking through the sales team following up after a webinar full of slides versus the sales team following up after a webinar where you were live shark diving on Zoom under the water in the Maldives. And now your sales team can call and go, how was that experience for you? So the difference in that follow-up is really the ROE. So sales teams care about this because sales teams, when they ask about your blueprint, are going to say, where do you think this falls on the ROE score? And if you say, we're a solid 9, the sales team's definitely going to want to send their customers to that event. So this is the goal we're going for. At the end of every event, we want our participants to feel this excited about having been together. We did a secret trip back in 2019 where we invited 80 experiential marketers to meet us at JFK, bring a passport, pack for 6 days. And when they got there, we revealed that had chartered a plane and we're taking them to Tuscany for a 6-day adventure. It was business, it was pleasure, it was true pleasure before that was a word. And most of the people did not know other people on the trip. This is a picture of the last night. So you truly can create this experience. Now, the big question, do you have to have 6 days in Tuscany in order for this to happen? No, you do not. You can absolutely do this in 3 days in a small event. You can even do it in 1 hour on a virtual event. It's true, it's possible, and we're going to try to get there with you when we jump over into the Zoom. So if you missed any of the crazy stuff I was talking about, because I go really fast, ROE drives ROI has a little explainer video that you can share with other folks, and it tells you exactly how to break this down and use this within your business. So Nicole, why don't you pop back on here with me? And is there anything else that I have missed?
No, that was amazing. I tried to drop easy cut and paste in the chat for you. But I think the one thing is, I don't know if anybody uses Bain's NPS score, which measures the likelihood that you're going to do business with each other after you've met in the future with a person or with a brand. And that in marketing all around and events is kind of the industry standard. And that actually isn't as good as ROI because this is both the, your blueprint of how to make sure that it's going to be in there. And then obviously the measurement afterwards. And it's the likelihood or, how do we feel the most connected in doing business with each other before we've even tried that. So
yeah, so the NPS score, if you
measure.
haven't heard that question, it's usually put that on your post-event survey, and it simply says, how likely are you to recommend this event to a colleague? Or if you get it from things you buy on Amazon, how likely are you to recommend this product to someone else? So an NPS gives you that loyalty score. But to Nicole's point, the problem with NPS is you have to have already been a customer in order to be able to answer that question. And with ROE, we are able to take this blueprint and use it to predict future business before they are already customers with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So this will really help you saying, hey, there's this new metric, even just the fact that you're bringing this to the overlords, if you have any, and saying that, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we ensure that it's built into our programs. And don't worry, we're going to be able to measure it, see what worked, and then even hone in on what areas we need to, focus on. Also gives you leverage to say, hey, see, remember when I suggested this thing that didn't really get approved and it had to do with adventure? Now we definitely, for the next time, need to get more funding or focus around that. And so, moving forward, it should help you as well.
So Autumn has a great question. How do you measure ROE or apply it to something like a video campaign? One of the examples I love to give is television. I was a huge Game of Thrones fan during those first 10 years, except for that last episode. We won't talk about that. But it was not live. People were not there when it happened. We watched it on TV at 8 o'clock every Sunday night. But the emotion around that, the surround that can happen with it. I texted with friends that watch it at the same time. I blocked people on Facebook that told me what happened the next day. There was a community that formed around this, and it was simply a one-way broadcast of a thing. So you can totally take this and put all ROI around it. So I am hoping that the person I want to become king is going to become king. Let's not talk about that. I'm motivated to go tell other people, oh my gosh, did you watch it yet? Because I want to talk about it more. The adventure, the whole darn thing's an adventure, except it's really late at night. And sometimes I fell asleep at the end and then had to go rewatch it the next day. But and the active part, again, getting me involved in talking with other people about it. I felt active. I couldn't really contribute to what the plot was going to be, but I created this activity around it. So thinking through, and of course accepted with my other thronies, we can go talk about who's going to be king and what's going to happen there. So putting that surround around a video campaign, totally possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love adding things in pre-event as well, even with your messaging. That can be really fun and create hype just in itself.
Absolutely. So Ashley's question around how would you apply this thought process to a special event, a fundraising gala, as opposed to a conference? Absolutely the same thing. So the hope there, if you have a cause-based gala, then there's absolutely hope that you are finding a cure, that you are, putting money toward research or whatever that is. And so you can build the entire hope thing around that. People coming here, they're going to have hope that they are contributing and impacting that. The adventure portion can come through the programming. So if you have those testimonials, those stories that you can bring in, the real live people that have gone through these experiences that are going to share that with your crowd, the adventure adventure can be viewed through their eyes, but bring it to life. You don't have to just have the people on stage with the nice little award and then just showing some videos. Videos are great too. You can still have that same story arc, but the real live people are absolutely amazing. Stories, if you do need to bring them in through video, just make sure you're doing some really emotionally driven videos that take you on that hero's journey so the people in the audience can feel that sense of adventure and why they want to be a part of it. The active part, can they help you come up with new ideas for what you could do after the gala? So we're here to gather all of the money you can give us tonight, but we all know galas cost even sometimes as much as you bring in. So what can your participants suggest that we could do to carry it forward? Can you have like an insights wall or an ideas wall where you could have them say, oh, here's what else we should do to go continue to carry this forward? And can you, quote unquote, exit through the gift shop? Is there a closing experience you can have them do when they're leaving that makes them advocates when they leave? Whether it's taking a free gift, whether it's purchasing something so that they can wear the shirt and go advocate afterwards, whatever it is, have that ending. Don't just drop it off when the final speaker's done. Exit them through and make them become advocates for you.
Yeah. And I think if you can give them things that, and that's a great follow-up as well for either your sales team or yourself, but give them things and then either suggested language that they want to use when they do post it or that kind of thing. Turn it into a contest, that kind of thing, especially for nonprofits and that kind of thing. The adventure can just even be in the hope of what life will be when we solve this problem or find the cure or do whatever. And then of course, use an attractive character with somebody that's benefiting from the nonprofit and tell their stories, give them a dilemma. And then you want to give people work to do, not just ask them for money, because it falls flat when people love an organization and what they're doing. Sure, you give them money, which is absolutely essential. And then you fall in love with this person that, you're just the biggest fan of, and that you hope that they find a cure, whatever it is. And then you kind of just, that's it. There's nothing else for you. So how do you give them an opportunity to help with a specific ask beyond dollars that will also help prime you for when you need more dollars later, because now they're in it. It's almost like you turn them into, yes, advocates, but these board members that are even more involved.
Okay, so the feedback I got was that we wanted to hang out here for a little bit. So everybody joined in. Looks like we've got about 31 folks here with us. Super duper excited to see you all. I'd rather see your faces. So why don't we jump over to the Zoom, the real Zoom with the breakout rooms and the people, and let's put this stuff into action. I want to get you all into a mural board and let's actually work this for your own problems and challenges and events.
All right, the link is in here. It will kick you out of this webinar. Do not panic. The link is active. The room is open. We'll let you in and we will literally see you soon.
Yay, see you over there. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Yeah, good to see your face. Oh, I love that color on you.
Welcome, Olivia. Hello, Lindsay. Hi, Mandy. Kelly, how are you? Hello, Ann.
Autumn. Hey, Mandy.
Hello. How are you?
Amazing. Mandy, did you take that picture behind you?
No, actually my friend did. It's in Melbourne. I did an event. Oh God, this was like 10 years ago. And it was in the wine industry. And my friend was living in Australia and we were working with Wines of Australia. So we got her to like go around Melbourne and take pictures of like graffiti with wine bottles, like kind of mixed in and printed them on canvas and gave a bunch away and kept.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That just like literally gave me an idea for like 5 things now. Like, wow.
All right. Well, why don't we get into our the next step so we can actually have some actionable things to go take away. So we're going to use a tool called Mural. You've probably seen it throughout pandemic time. So let me open up my Mural board for us and find the link, share, visitors, copy, and drop it in. So all you're going to do is click on the link I drop in the chat and it'll drop you right into Mural. If it asks you for your name, you don't have to put it in. You can come in as anonymous. Music off here. And in the Mural board, you're going to see a whole bunch of what we call Innovators Compass. And since we've got just a handful of folks here, I don't think we even need to get into breakout rooms. We're just going to go right in and we can work this stuff together. So do any of you have a challenge, an event, a conference, a gala that you're working on right now that we could all workshop together?
Somebody's got to have something great. Or maybe it's not great, and that's the perfect one to pick.
If not, we have some that we are going to just go workshop together.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's do that. Get to where
I
sometimes
can share if nobody wants to chime in. So I work for a nonprofit. We're planning our annual meeting. It's happening in January in San Francisco.
Okay, tell us a little bit about this. Who comes to your event?
So I work for Society of Critical Care Medicine. It's made up of multi-professional critical care clinicians. So doctors, pharmacists, nurses, et cetera, respiratory therapists. So critical care clinicians is our target audience.
Okay, and what do you have any challenges with the event that you're trying to solve?
Well, this is our first time in person since 2020. We luckily got one in February, right before everything shut down. We tried to have an in-person event last year and had to pivot last minute to virtual due to Delta. So I think just getting, we're worried about registration numbers. At this point, we usually have about 5,500 professional registrants. What we're seeing from other people in similar industries is about 65% attendance of pre-COVID. So I think that's one of our biggest challenges right now is just getting people to register. And we also pivoted last minute too from New Orleans. We had some contracting difficulties. That's where we were planning to be. This summer we moved it to San Francisco. So location change at the last minute, first in-person event since COVID. Our target audience also often, so critical care clinicians have difficulty getting time off. And that's even more difficult these days with COVID. And a lot of hospitals have cut funding for education and travel and things like that. So we did introduce a digital option this year on top of the in-person option. So we're hoping that can help to boost some numbers. But really the in-person experience is what we want people to come and have.
Do they come for continuing education or other reasons?
Continuing education, yes. Networking, things like that.
Are they able to get that continuing ed in other places right now?
Yes. I mean, there's many other organizations that provide that. There are these days more digital virtual options than previously what they can do, but it is a way to get a lot of CE over just a few days.
Okay, and so we've captured a lot of, this is called an Innovators Compass, and what we're going to do is work the problem through. So we start in the middle with who is this for? The bottom left is what's happening in their world, those people, what's going on with them. And then we're going to work through what matters most to them. What are the big crazy ideas we could do? And then what are some things we could actually try and experiment with? So do we want to focus on the audience acquisition challenge? Or do we want to focus on what would happen at the actual event that would draw them there, solving the audience acquisition challenge?
Let's do that second option.
Okay. So what's going to draw them there? So for them, what does networking do for them? Does it help them find a new job, or does it help them just have someone to commiserate with?
Potentially both. I think also just like that gets them. So a lot of our members tend to be like in the academic world. So they're teaching and things like that in addition to practicing. So just gets them to know more people in the field. I think a lot of times too, we encourage people to network so that they form some sort of connection to the society. They continue their membership or they join. There's other events, activities, resources that we have throughout the year. So it gets them excited about that. If they see the value in attending the Critical Care Congress. So yeah, networking, just meeting peers.
Awesome. So what matters most to them is being part of this organization because they have all of the above. And then do they get support throughout the year from the society as well?
Yes.
Okay. And it's educational support?
For this event or just like in general?
In general, like throughout the year, resources, education, networking.
Yeah, we're constantly releasing new resources. We have several other events throughout the year, depending on what your specialty is or what your interests are.
Awesome. So the rest of you that are on here, if you jumped in the mural with us, you simply double click to add a sticky. And if you want to capture any notes and play along, or there are some other Innovators Compasses here, if you want to workshop your own problem while we're doing this one publicly, you can go do that as well. All right, so I am seeing what matters most to them is probably the continuing education used to matter most, but now they're able to find that in other potential locations.
Correct.
Continuing education. So from your perspective, what is something that you could offer them at the experience that they're not able to get virtually or locally?
Well, I mean, I think that just the in-person, like being together with their peers, like you can solve problems or come up with new ideas or talk to other people about what research they're doing, all of that in person that you can't get when you're sitting behind like a screen.
Does your agenda have space for problem solving sessions for them?
So we do have roundtables
Okay.
throughout the day. We have like an exhibit hall where they can go in and meet with, pharmaceutical companies or other industry companies to learn about some of the new tools and technologies. So virtually they can't get access to that exhibit hall. We have several like lounge spaces where people can go and just kind of relax, chit chat, get to know other people. Things like that. So
the exhibit hall is something you hadn't mentioned previously, but I love hearing that. So there are not any other places they can go throughout the year other than one-on-one with those companies. But the exhibit hall, they can see all the things. Do you prep them for what they're able to experience at the exhibit hall, or they just kind of get in there and walk the aisles?
So, I mean, we have a exhibitor listing. So they can go in and favorite exhibitors. They can see like each exhibitor is able to submit like a short description. So that shows along with their booth number. So someone can ahead of time kind of prep for their visit to the exhibit hall, but we don't do a lot of these exhibitors are someone that we think would interest you. We let kind of the burden be on the attendee.
Okay, so let's work through our emotions. So the emotion of hope, what are you going to provide to them to go, okay, I hope that if I come to this conference, when I leave, I can do what?
That I can go back to my critical care unit with new knowledge and either solve problems better or solve problems that we don't know how to solve.
Okay. Can we also add in that I'm going to meet the people that can help me solve those problems, even if I can't solve them myself? So true networking.
Yep.
People or solutions. So that brings in the exhibitors. How about our motivation? So at the end, is there something, do you give them anything that they can take back with them? Or is that on them to kind of take the notes?
So they do get access for a full year to all the recorded presentations. So whatever either they can go back and listen to a presentation again, or whatever presentations that they missed, they can go through and listen to that again later. And we give away some like little, tchotchke type things like physical, like water bottles or stuff like that. But in terms of like education, yes, they get access to the recordings for a full year.
Okay. Is there anything that would actually make them put that into action? So we can go watch it again. I don't know how your events are, but very few of ours go back and actually rewatch the stuff. But if we can give them something like, does each session have the key takeaways that they can take back? Maybe the download of a PDF or something they could use to go, oh, here were the things that I didn't even have to take notes. Now I can share it with my team.
That's a good thought. No, we don't. There's additional CE they can gain through watching the recordings, but there's nothing like short cliff notes of key sessions.
Okay. So I like that. I like that terminology. So the cliff notes of sessions, and you can even have the session presenters actually present that. And here's the abstract. Here's what I'm going to present. And here's the key takeaway that they should be able to download to take back with them. So that's a big, crazy dream idea. Okay, so that's motivation and that's hope. Now let's talk about accepted. I feel like that one's pretty easy. They all know who they are and they're all huggy.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do that. Now, another part of acceptance, though, could be the problem solving together. Would it be possible to do a big, giant, what's my problem board? So when they first come in, whether it's as simple as just putting it on sticky notes and bulletin boarding it up there, or even whiteboarding where they can write it, but something physical when they get in, here's what I'm trying to solve. And maybe they could even put their contact information there if they're willing to be networky and say, if you can solve this problem, call me. Actually have that physical moment.
I actually really like that. So we're doing some continue the conversation boards this year, but it's more just to get like an interaction piece, like people to say like, my biggest hope for the future is this, like, but I do like the what's my problem board. So I can throw that out there maybe not for this year, but maybe for next year or something like that.
Yeah, just have them in, because now they feel like they're an active part of the conversation. They can actively tell other people what their problem is. And now they can actively look for other people either with the same problem or with a solution to their problem. Because the two things we like to do is ask them what challenge they have solved or they have to solve, and then pick one color sticky note, pink only, for example. Which of these challenges have you solved and could offer your expertise in? So now you have both the exhibitors and the subject matter experts there that are, senior in their career that could say, actually, we did this at my hospital, or we did this at my emergency care facility, and let people reach out to them.
That's a super cool idea.
So there's your active part. That's fantastic, and accepted and active, puts all those things together. What else do you currently do for the active part? You said roundtables. Who were those led by?
Just experts, subject matter experts. So they usually have like a topic theme. So we publish that in advance, and people, if that's interesting to them, they can come join that roundtable. So it could be something like, internal medicine or pharmacy or something like that, but it could also be like, I'm a medical student, or I'm looking for a new job, or stuff like that.
Okay, that's awesome. And then it's like one or a couple of sessions splattered throughout the conference?
Yeah, they're usually, so it's there's 15 to 20 tables. Each table has a different session or a different topic. And I think they're held 2 times a day.
Okay.
So
Beautiful.
we cover a lot of topics.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then this is the hard one now, adventure. What is the big thing that makes you go, oh my God, I have to go to that conference because?
Yeah, and that's the hard part because everything's so expensive, right?
Right.
So we do offer tours. They do come at an extra cost. For our top tier membership, we offer tours at a reduced cost, so they can go do stuff outside of the meeting. We tried to bring some exciting stuff into the meeting. We have at our office a cafe based off of our founder. So we're doing some like pop-up cafes this year at our meeting, so people can come and grab coffee and get a free water bottle and things like that at that cafe. But it's hard to bring a lot of that adventure. And we do have some cool plenary speakers. We have a famous TikTok guy coming in, which is kind of a little bit different from our typical plenary speakers. So trying to make things a little bit more exciting and different, but also, valuable.
So when we think about these people, let's go back to they are critical care professionals. And so explain a little more to me about what they're doing. Are they in ERs?
They're in ICUs.
ICUs. Okay. And so every day for them is an adventure.
Yes.
I'm guessing. So perhaps they don't need something that's even more adrenaline pumping, or are they the kind of people that actually live and thrive on adrenaline? And when they come to a conference and have to sit and listen and sit and get for a few days, are they actually drained and they need something that's going to pump them up more?
Good question. I would say it's probably a mixed bag. Like, I think depending on their age and level of practice, I think the younger people like to, so we have like sections and chapters, and a lot of those will host like receptions. So people will come and attend those like in the evenings and things like that. A lot of that does tend to be attended by younger people. So yeah, I would say kind of mixed between those two.
Okay.
I put in there even just like the messaging around, like, for example, they're critical care clinicians. Then how do we turn that into like how self-care is critical, and kind of, weaving that in. And I know like my mom was a nurse forever, and it's always about the shoes. And so if you had this like really cool collab with either the Crocs or the Dance Goes or whatever, and even just, you can change them out on site and give them a shot. Like, always wanted to try these, try these at the conference and that kind of thing. So that could be like a cool way to get some, awesome interaction. And maybe then you could extend that out to the audience that's not there with kind of this, try it before you, not buy it before you get it kind of option, where they try something that they normally wouldn't have. And then another idea was like essentially doing like an essential oil roller. They can keep it really easy in their pocket, but it's custom made for them, stress relief. And maybe they'd make one for them, and then what one could be potentially good for their patients or families, or something to give to their families. My mom always made these little Swarovski crystal angels when she did labor and delivery, and she would give them to the moms. And it was this huge thing. Well, families in ICU and the patients, they need a lot of love too. So something that they could share could be cool.
Yeah, those are really neat ideas.
I love that. And if you have any adrenaline junkies, are there any critical care things that you could actually turn into a competition during the hallway break? Is there something that you could have them do and put them in teams and like, okay, and then you give actual prizes again?
No, that's good. We did throw around the idea of doing like an escape room this year, but the logistics and the cost just kind of ruled that out. And also just like how many rounds you'd have to go through with these small groups, depending on how many people you wanted to participate. But I think we're trying to come up with lots of different interaction opportunities. So we do have like a coloring wall. Some of our we have like a show look. So it's kind of graffiti art. So we came up with like a coloring mural. So there's going to be paint markers that people can color in different spots of the mural. We have a mosaic wall so people can come take a picture, and it's going to build like a pretty scene talking about next year's meeting. To try to come up with some action activities.
I have an idea too. You could use like, it's always hilarious, like especially comic relief, you know, as the clinicians in ICU is just like kind of the minute to win it contest that don't need to be expensive, with the gloves and things that you commonly find, you know, the mask, the gauze, the whatever else. And maybe like pre-event, your welcome arch is all just blown up glove, like balloon animals, but with gloves. You know, they could decorate them, draw them or whatever, but it's just kind of like a really cool use of things that they use every day. You know, what kind of things would you hear if you hold your stethoscope up to something that, you know, like they're like, you have to try this. And so that could be really, you know, a cool activation and collab as well with actual the medical device people are always looking for cooler things to do. So what would you hear if you listened better and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. So in some of these hallway activations, can you bring some of the exhibitors out to do stuff like that? So maybe they're one level up or something along that line, so you can monetize them even more and have them be a part of this thing that's built. I love the idea that inflate the gloves and have people draw them and then they go on a wall or something. You make the big balloon arch or something like that. And, or could, this is like your make a wish or the comment of what is it? What do you hope to get in the future, or what you hope the change would be? An interesting way to display that is really fun.
Oh my God, you could do bedpan Olympics.
Exactly, that kind of
stuff.
That
would be cool. You get an inflatable slide. It's like $400 for the day, and you let them sit on one of those and you have races. I mean, it's so cool.
But even more fun, you actually do all this stuff in the exhibit hall. So now people are in there for a time, for a reason. They're going to hang out with the exhibitors. The exhibitors are laughing with them. The whole point of Return on Emotion is a shared experience that everyone can be a part of together. So what can we do that's even in little bursts of moments when it's small groups, but people are going to be talking about it, taking pictures of it, putting it on social media and going, you will not believe what we did at this critical care conference.
Great ideas.
Okay, so these were all of our big crazy ideas. And what of these actually sound realistic that we could bring down into experiments?
Like what some of those ideas that we can actually try?
Yeah.
So I like the What's My Challenge board.
Okay.
I like that a lot. I think trying to come up with something like flashy, like the bedpan Olympics or something like that, where people would just like post all over social media so it could garner some attention. That would be super cool. So trying to think of something very unique and fun that could do that.
You call it flash in the pan. I'm here all week.
Well, I really liked the self-care is critical too. So I know well-being and mental health and all that is like a big topic right now for healthcare professionals, especially. So trying to do some focus on that.
Yep. Yeah. If you do this recharge lounge where you have that moment, people can do this. They can charge their phone, they can do the other things, but actually have that moment in that place for them to, then you have the opposite, the people that are not the adrenaline junkies because they live it every day and they actually want to go chill out for a minute.
You can even work with, this is totally doable, is almost just what could they submit during the event, both online and in person, where like one of your collab partners can do something to like pimp out their break room or give them like something like, you know, they're always bringing in food and that kind of stuff, but like do it in like turning into a spa where like there's a special chair that's the massage chair that they could just jump in just even for 5 minutes because you know that's all they have while they're trying to decide to eat or go to the bathroom. And so like that kind of thing could be really cool as something that they look forward to as well, that you know, involving their team as well into the event. I feel like that's really realistic, and where they can get votes from their, you know, staff that they work with, that doesn't cost you a lot of money and makes them do the work. But that's a realistic way to bring their team in, because now you're already making them advocates.
No, that's fantastic. And then again with this one, can we do an exit through the gift shop? Is there a way you could take the promenade where people are leaving? Because you know what always happens. I got a plane to catch, so I'm going to duck out early, or I have to get back for the kids. And so you don't get that mass exodus after the final closing, or maybe people are in breakout sessions. And so they're even more likely to kind of disperse. So if you take the promenade where they were first coming in and register and turn that into an exit through the gift shop moment, where instead of exhibitors trying to give the rest of their tchotchkes out to the other exhibitors, you could actually have that as part of the exiting experience of pick up one of these, take it for a friend. And if there's, clothing or shirts that they can purchase that advocate for your brand or your society, then they can grab those on the way out. It would be absolutely epic if one of your sponsors would sponsor a FedEx at home, a ship at home station, so people can take all the stuff they got and go give it to them and then get it shipped home for them. That would be crazy cool. And then you have the kind of that closing. So whether you leave as one person or a group of people, you feel closure as you go off.
Oh, I like that. We do have like a bookstore where we sell not only like books, but we also sell like clothing items and things like that. I will have to look where we have positioned this year, but potentially next year, yeah, positioning it closer to like an exit so that people just either gather there as they're coming in or check it out when they're waiting for a cab or waiting for a friend or as they're out their door.
Yes. Yeah. I love it.
We struggle sometimes with exhibitors because of like the ACCME, the continuing education, like governing body. We have issues with, it can't be too close to educational sessions because there can't be any influence with that. So sometimes it's a little bit tricky about where we can position exhibitors within the meeting and what they can sponsor. But it's a good thought too, to have people right near the exit.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you found this fun and helpful and how you would kind of work through the emotions and put it in through this problem solving method. This was fun for us to do. We love these live brainstormings. So.
Yes, absolutely. And you can literally take anything. And I would say that the most important one, not the most important one, it's good to know where they're head at. Obviously, you have to know your audience, and then moving into, what's going on in their world. But the one that we always say that when we say people, go big, they don't really go big enough, is the top right, is what is crazy. And we brought in moon rocks from the moon and then did foot massages, like cool, something like that. So don't think of money as being the object. Like if you could do absolutely anything to blow their mind, you flew in every patient that they ever had that they saved, and there they are, and they did the clap out for the event. Oh my God, every medical person on the face of the earth would watch that. So stuff like that, that who cares if it's not realistic? That's where you dream big and then pull down what is actually possible.
I love that. And then I see the request of possible to get the Innovators Compass graphic. It is a free tool. It's called innovatorscompass.org. So you can just go there and grab it. And if you use Mural, it's a template that's in Mural that you can just pull over. Or if you're on a whiteboard, you just draw a big plus sign in the middle and you can kind of work your way around stuff using that. Yeah. Amazing. Well, we hope that you enjoyed our ROE experience. So this was giving you the orientation to how ROE truly does drive ROI, and then some examples of how you can implement that in your programs and truly working it through how you would think about it. So this is using an ROE blueprint, which we just did, coming up with big ideas. And if you focus on one emotion at a time as you go through this, like really, how do we focus on adventure, get your team to help you and come up with the big crazy adventure ideas and then pull them down to the experiments you can actually do. Now you're going to nail that emotion. And so once you get everybody going through the experience, then you've got an ROE of 10.
Yeah, and awesome. And thanks for Lindsay for giving us that example too. So you're definitely doing very important work for people that are doing important work. So on those stressful days, just know that you're doing something amazing.
Absolutely.
Every resource that has been shared today, friends, we will be sending out with the recording. So what's going to happen is our web guy is going to plug these two together. So that's going to come into one, it'll be about a 45 minutes to an hour viewing for you. You'll get your CEU certificate. We will get probably a blank copy, if that's okay, Community Factory ladies, where they can have kind of that compass. And then if you can come in, as well as contact information for both Liz and Nicole, as well as the slide deck. So you will have all of that and a bag of chips. We are all going to be gathered together. Hopefully, if you're event planners, and we will see you in IMEX, check us out at the Tech Hub. I know Liz and Nicole are not going to be there. They're at another event, doing actual job related stuff, but we're going to be going drinking champagne. So that's kind of what it is. Nifty also has 2 or 3 more webinars that are coming up. We are running hard until Thanksgiving, my friends. So please join us. If not, thank you for your thoughts, your brains, your ideas, your challenges, your hopes, your dreams. And somebody had a carrier pigeon. I saw it, I swear. And it was fantastic as always. I love you. I think you are fantastic. And I think you are doing God's work with events, marketing, and creative. And we know you are rock stars at it. So we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.